Today, let's have a look at a quick guide to adding and subtracting fractions. Let's start with addition by taking note of the following important steps. Step 1. You should add your whole numbers. Step 2. Make sure your denominators are the same. Step 3. Add your numerators only, leave the denominators as they are. And step 4. Add any extra whole numbers, and don't forget to end by simplifying. When we're looking at adding extra whole numbers, we mean, do you have any extra improper fractions that need to be simplified down into mixed numbers? You're going to see this in a moment. Our first example is 2 1/5 plus 1 7/10. Well, we know that we begin by adding our whole numbers, so 2 plus 1 equals 3. We then need to make our denominators the same. I can turn a 5 into a 10 by multiplying by 2, so both of my fractions will have 10 as a denominator. But my rule is, what I do to the bottom, I must do to the top. So 1 times 2 is 2. This leaves me with 3 2/10 plus 7/10. Next, I should add my numerators only. So I've got 2 plus 7, which is 9. But don't forget about your whole number, so my final answer is 3 9/10. In question 2, I've got 3 1/2 plus 2 4/7. Again, we begin by adding our whole numbers. 3 plus 2 is 5. Then we need to make our denominators the same. Well, I can't turn a 2 into a 7 or a 7 into a 2, so the quickest way to make the denominators the same is to just multiply them by each other. So I'll say 2 times 7 and 7 times 2. We know that we're going to get the answer of 14 for both fractions. But remember, what we do to the bottom, we must do to the top. So 1 times 7 equals 7, and 4 times 2 equals 8. So this leaves me with 5 and 7 over 14 plus 8 over 14. Next, I am only going to add my numerators, and 7 plus 8 is 15. This means that my next step should say 5 and 15 over 14. But 15 over 14 is improper. And this is where that rule comes in, where you need to add any extra whole numbers. Because I'm going to turn 15 over 14 into a mixed number, which will leave me with 1 and 1 over 14. Now I can add my extra whole numbers by saying 5 plus 1 is 6. And my final answer is 6 1/14. In question 3, I have 6/10 plus 1 2/3. I don't have any whole numbers to add, but I can't just leave this 1 alone, so I'll make sure that I write it down. Next, I need to make sure that my denominators are the same. I am going to multiply 10 by 3 and 3 by 10 to get denominators of 30. And remember that what we do to the bottom, we do to the top. So 6 times 3 is 18, and 2 times 10 is 20. 18 plus 20 gives me 38, so I'll have 1 and 38 over 30. 38 divided by 30 is 1 remainder 8, so that means I have 1 plus 1 and 8 over 30. When I add my whole numbers, I'm left with 2 and 8 over 30, and 8 and 30 can both be divided by 2, so my final answer is 2 4/15. Now let's look at how to subtract fractions. Take note of the following steps. We begin by turning mixed numbers into improper fractions, and then we make our denominators the same. It is interchangeable, which means that you could begin by making the denominators the same and then turning your mixed numbers into improper fractions, but I prefer following this process. Lastly, you are going to subtract your numerators only, and of course, simplify where necessary. For our first question, we have got 2 1/4 minus 1 7/8. I'm going to begin not by subtracting my whole numbers, but by making them improper. So 2 times 4 is 8, plus 1 is 9 over 4, minus 1 times 8 is 8, plus 7 is 15 over 8. Now I need to make my denominators the same. I can turn 4 into 8 by saying times 2, and what I do to the bottom, I must do to the top. And 9 times 2 is 18. So this gives me 18 over 8 minus 15 over 8. 18 minus 15 is 3, so my final answer is 3 over 8. Question 2 says 1 and 4/7 minus 6 over 10. I begin by turning my mixed number into an improper fraction by saying 1 times 7 is 7 plus 4 is 11. So I am left with 11 over 7 minus 6 over 10. Next, I need to make the denominators the same, so I multiply the 7 by 10 and the 10 by 7. What I do to the bottom, I do to the top, which leaves me with 110 over 70 minus 42 over 70. When I subtract my numerators, I am left with 68 over 70, and both of those numbers can be divided by 2, leaving me with a final answer of 34 over 35. For my last question, I've got 7/9 minus a half. I have no whole numbers to worry about, so I just need to focus on making my denominators the same. I can do that by multiplying them by each other. So 9 times 2 and 2 times 9, and they both give me a denominator of 18. What I do to the bottom, I do to the top. So 7 times 2 gives me 14 over 18, and 1 times 9 gives me 9 over 18. When I subtract 14 and 9, I get 5, and my denominator remains the same. Try some of these examples by pausing the video and checking back to see how you did. Question 1. Begin by adding your whole numbers, which gives you 15 and 3/5 plus 5 over 6. Next, we'll make our denominators the same, which gives us 15 and 18 over 30 plus 25 over 30, because what I do to the bottom, I do to the top. When I add my numerators, that gives me 15 and 43 over 30, which you should notice is an improper fraction. When I simplify my improper fraction, I end up with 1 and 13 over 30. But don't forget to add it to the 15, which gives us a final answer of 16 and 13 over 30. For question 2, I only have 9 as a whole number, so make sure that I write that down. And then I make sure that my denominators are the same, which they already are, so I can focus on just simply adding my numerators. 4 plus 5 gives me 9 over 6, which is an improper fraction, and that simplifies to a mixed number of 1 and 3/6. When I add that to the 9, I get 10 and 3/6, and I can simplify this to a final answer of 10 and a half. Question 3. I have 8 as my whole number, and I have nothing else to add, so I'm going to focus on making my denominators the same. I can turn a 5 into a 10 by multiplying by 2, and what I do to the bottom, I do to the top, so that gives me 8 and 5/10 plus 8 over 10. When I add my numerators, I am left with 13 over 10, which, as a mixed number, gives me 1 and 3/10. When I add that to my whole number of 8, I get a final answer of 9 and 3/10. Let's see how you did with the subtraction. I'm going to begin by turning 2 and 4/9 into an improper fraction, which gives me 22 over 9 minus 7 over 9. My denominators are already the same, so I'm going to focus on just simply subtracting my numerators, which gives me 15 over 9. This is an improper fraction, which is 1 and 6/9 as a mixed number. I can simplify my fraction by dividing by 3, which leaves me with a final answer of 1 and 2/3. The next question has 1 and 3/4 minus a half. I begin by making my mixed numbers improper, which leaves me with 7 over 4 minus a half. Make my denominators the same, leaves me with 14 over 8 minus 4 over 8. Subtracting my numerators gives me 10 over 8. This is an improper fraction, which gives me 1 and 2/8 as a mixed number. I can simplify this fraction further by dividing by 2, so my final answer is 1 and 1/4. In our last example, we have 3 and 2/5 minus 1 and 3/7. Remember, we do not begin by subtracting whole numbers. Instead, we make them into improper fractions. This will give me 17 over 5 minus 10 over 7. When I make my denominators the same, I'm going to get a denominator of 35, and because what I do to the bottom, I must do to the top, I'm going to get 119 over 35 minus 50 over 35. When I subtract my numerators, I am left with 69 over 35. 69 divided by 35 gives me 1 remainder 34, so my final answer is 1 and 34 over 35. And that is all there is to adding and subtracting fractions.